My final reflection on the paradox of identity. The three characters from three different novels that I'm going to talk about below have all gone through similar experiences where one expects their identity to turn into one thing, but it ends up morphing into something completely different altogether due to changes in plot. In other words, what they want does not always end up being what they expected. When Pip, the protagonist in the novel Great Expectations, was granted a healthy sum of money from an anonymous donator, he expected to become an educated and elite gentleman. He assumed that the beautiful young girl, Estella, that had accused him of having coarse hands and thick boots as a child, would no longer see him as a commoner, but as a proper gentleman. However, as Pip's expectations of the easy life of a gentleman unravel, he sees the consequences, the loss of affection from his family, and the struggles of dealing with money. He learns that being of elevated status due to sudden wealth does not affect his moral well-being. When he realizes the convict Magwitch is his benefactor, he notices that even though he may be considered rich, his fortune has ended up harming the ones he loves. Pip's expectation of becoming a gentleman was not what he dreamed it would be. In this short novel, Siddhartha, the main character, is a young man seeking spiritual enlightenment. Beginning as the son of a Brahmin, Siddhartha expects to achieve happiness solely from the holy sacrifices and meditation practices he is told to do by his father. However, he is unable to reach the inner peace he is searching for. He then decides to travel and live with the abstinent and humble Samanas, where once again he is unable to fulfill his expectation of enlightenment. Siddhartha, still incapable of finding this inner tranquility, travels throughout the Holy Land until he realizes that what he wants cannot be found in the expected material and strictly religious world. It must be found through his experiences and brought about through his inner self. While this may not be what he expected enlightenment to be, Siddhartha has achieved it. This story begins with every young man's expectations to serve as a soldier in World War I and live to tell the tale of valor and honor. The protagonist, Paul Baumer, enlists in the army along with countless other men looking to serve their country, Germany. What Paul and his comrades did not expect in their plight for honor is the effect of the horror and terror that the war will leave on them. When the soldiers fantasize about better lives after the war and or the lives they led before enlisting, they never expected that most of them would end up dying on the battlefield. Death is another matter that Paul has to unexpectedly and constantly deal with throughout the book. The men never expected to be surrounded by so much death and so many dying soldiers, both on the battlefield and in the hospitals, that it completely changes them. However, more than anything, the men had wanted to be known as heroes, and they would to the country that was unaware of the brutality of war. But to themselves, the soldiers had never suspected themselves questioning the moralities of warfare, in this case, the plotting of men against men.